Hey bro,
What's up?
what you doing?
I'm watching about the Colombian drug trade video.
Jason, can you explain about this?
Okay, it says here that the Colombia's drug trade has been around since the Medellin cartel's rise in the 1980s. Since then, Colombia has been famous for its drug cartels and its vast smuggling of cocaine into the United States. Throughout this period, the media has been producing large information about the rise of Colombia smuggling cocaine into the United States. From the 1980s, journalists in Colombia had the freedom of speech and under no government restraints. Later on, large amount of journalists have started to take advantage of the media to rise up politically or granting them power or wealth. As the media evolves towards the 21st century, most of these facts are invalid but still are published to the public. People nowadays question the true intentions of the media towards the public. The motive of our research is to go inside the problems behind drug trafficking in Colombia and to criticize how the media relates Colombia to drugs.
Oh Jason, I know about that.
Yeah?
You want me to tell something about that clearly?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Can I see it?
You know, even though Colombia economy and social condition is slowly inclining to achieve international standards, Colombia is perceived to that mass cocaine distributed to America due to media's inconsistency in reporting the facts of drug trafficking.
Yeah.
How the media discredits the socio-economy of the nation, the predicaments of the victims, the government hidden agendas, and its evidence that the media is trying to conceal the main truth and also the profit from the consumer who are buying the story. So Jensen, did you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey Darwin, hey Jensen.
Hey Daniel,
Right,
Hey, Nat.
how are you?
Yeah, fine.
What are you guys doing?
we are discussing about drug trafficking.
Drug
In
trafficking.
Colombia.
I've actually heard news about Colombians being caught to smuggle cocaine into the United States.
Oh, okay.
I often heard about it, but actually I keep questioning myself, why doesn't the news actually talk about the backgrounds of Colombia? About the poverty, government itself, and also the paramilitary, which is also threatening Colombians. And you guys have got any opinions about it?
But you seem to know a lot about this topic. Do you want to discuss it with us?
Yeah, sure. But it's getting kind of late outside, and it's gonna be evening soon. So, do you guys want to discuss it elsewhere?
Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, then let's go.
Yeah, sure.
As we know, the media only highlights the statistics of Colombians caught for drug smuggling into the United States and enhances less on the current internal affairs, which are poverty, the growth of paramilitary, and also the lifestyle of the villagers living in the slums of Bogota. Here is a news article by Business Insider Australia about how the local authorities stated that they stopped a crate of drugs transported across the border between Colombia and Venezuela. This form of information is only half true, as the media does not state where these networks originate from. With the media in control to change one's mind, one should come to realize that the media manipulates one's mind about Colombia, a mass cocaine smuggling country, without producing articles about how and what causes Colombia to get the reputation of a cocaine distributing country. The media also shortens the elaboration on consequences for drug traffickers caught, often publishing consequences faced by the suspects, such as life imprisonment or the death sentence, along with several whips with a 10K. Nevertheless, the media does not heavily provide full information about how the way cocaine will be smuggled from slums in Colombia into the United States through countries such as Mexico and Venezuela. Of the city of Bogota, drug smugglers have different ways of smuggling cocaine into her neighboring countries.
La única manera que puede ser detectado es cuando el barco aminora la marcha y este tiende a subir. Entonces realmente es un mecanismo muy seguro. El video fue el que vendió la idea. Cuando por fin mostramos que estaba el proyecto ya terminado y que funcionaba a la perfección, todas las organizaciones que había en aquel entonces en Medellín y en Cali peleaban por tener una cosa de esas.
One of these methods were undetected until only a little later by smuggling cocaine into the Mexican border by using customized submarines called Colombia's coke smuggling submarines. By analyzing the video, The author, who is a past drug mule himself, created these documents to mock Americans about their concentration means, mainly towards smugglers who smuggle cocaine by land. The author's gesture during the documentary seems to be egoistic and proud about his inventions of the narcotic along with his friends, overly telling the people not to be easily fooled by the media, giving shallow information about the drugs smuggling in Colombia. Despite that, the media often focuses on campaigns held by politicians in restoring peace in Colombia, often portraying the United States as the helper and the aid of the ones in need. The media creates hoaxes about these aids to be helpful to countries such as Colombia, but only using these campaigns as a stepping stone to obtain what they want, such as power and control over the country. In August 2009, a university student in the Colombian city of Cali rests beneath a wall painted with graffiti in which a wolf representing the US remarks, "Grandma, I've come to help you fight against drug trafficking." The United States did not offer much help to the Colombian government, as they see Colombia as a low potential country with a low gross percentage, which is also known as GDP. Plan Colombia is a program where the United States pours a military force to aid the Colombian government in fighting drug traffickers, also known as the Colombian conflict. The real reason is unknown, as the United States may have a hidden agenda like the Iraqi war, while there are some speculations about these aids and campaigns not transparent to society. Hence, the purpose of creating this graffiti is for the artist to speak his or her inner thoughts about the current issues between America and Colombia. I feel that the program run by the Americans to protect Colombia is a hoax and intends to share this with the people, mainly locals, to cause an awareness of the scam, hoping that no Colombians will fall into the trap and give in to the Americans who are desperate for power. The name of the author remains unknown, as he is doing this in discreet. The movie Maria Full of Grace is a story of a young girl who lost her job and got into the drug trafficking business to be a mule. The movie enhances the lifestyle and social economy of the locals in Colombia, which touches a deeper understanding into the social condition experienced by the locals. The director, Joshua Matson, who is also the scriptwriter for the movie, got his inspiration from his personal interest on drug trafficking. This interest on the drug trafficking culture in Colombia brought him deeper into the drug trafficking trade, as he wanted to combine real-life drug smuggling strategies, cultures, and also the perspective of a DEA agent who was his associate producer into the story. These informations, by interviewing real-life drug mules, asking them about their lives behind bars and so on, brought him to team up with a crew to compose a movie with the intentions of showing the people what drug trafficking is behind the scenes. The director analyzes his surroundings and current affairs on the drug trade in Colombia and is determined to make a change to overcome this problem. Desperation is also a theme which can look into the social economy of Colombia, as people only desire to survive the cruel society in Colombia. This is something the media does not portray to the people. This picture exhibits the current situation in Colombia, where millions of people are displaced, the sad faces of Colombian girls in the background and soldiers standing guard portrays how backward the country is. Colombia is third in the country in the world, which has a population of 3 million people out of its 45 million people, forced out of their homes by guerrillas and paramilitary to be used as a drug laboratory and a distribution center. Situated in Buenaventura, it is one of the coasts where drugs are primarily originated from. People living mainly rely on crops and earn a living, and this does not add much to the Colombian economy. Adding to that, they are disturbed and persuaded by paramilitaries to be recruited into the military and also the drug trafficking trade. Why doesn't the media solely focus on the welfare of the people in Colombia, letting the world know more about poverty in Colombia other than publishing and branding Colombians as main drug traffickers? These misconceptions often bring sorrows to the victim's family, as their reputation is ruined. However, does the media know Colombia is one of the happiest and most hopeful countries in the world? According to the survey from Wynn Gallup International Association, an international consortium group of market research and polling firms, 82% out of 1,012 Colombians, who are mainly lower to upper class citizens, as well as citizens without an education background, reported themselves happy, while 2% reported themselves unhappy. Despite the people living under hardships, they still have hope and happiness, which brings a positive impact to the country. To Colombians, having hope for the following year gives them the inspiration to hold on to their dignity and pride towards their country. Their optimism is favorable even in such conditions. Although this is one interesting survey being carried out to find out about the lifestyle of the people in Colombia, this survey has not been publicized by the media. Apart from the felonies provided by journalists and reporters, society is also not given a deeper understanding on the difficulties faced by Colombians. Another reason why society is conceiving the problem of drug trafficking is the predicament of the victims.
Nathaniel, that's a good point. The media will only report that a crime has happened, but they wouldn't show why the crime had been done. The media ignores the predicaments of the people. People should be given a second chance after we get to know their testimony. Because, from this saying from a meme featuring a photo of a police officer, a meme like this can speak 1,000 words. The meme has biases on how the police and the officials are choosing to deal with the problem. Some people make mistakes because they have no choice, but does the media care to elaborate on that? From the news, videos, or any other form of media, all we can see is the crime people have done. To the convicts, their life is over, their reputation is ruined. The media should at least give some sympathy and try to ask them some questions. This will at least save both their names and the honor of their country. Other than that, we have to realize that Colombia is a country in which poverty exists. Inequality is scattered throughout the nation. How is this related? It's because the higher class people tend to have control over the lower class people. Because when you see someone getting caught for drug trafficking, you don't see them wearing nice suits and tuxedos, you see them wearing red clothes, therefore proving that they can't afford to have nice clothes. There is a high probability that the high classes are from the US. Mass cocaine is flowing illegally into that country. There are loads of buyers and sellers. The media does not implement on how agonizing it is for the lower class to serve for the upper class people. They do not have enough wealth or power to fight against the threats or the lures that the upper class have to give. The website biases on how the lower class people are treated. For other websites, they do not even mention any predicaments that the drug dealers have. This website did not even mention anything about poverty. Hence, by comparing both websites, it can show us that the media is not telling us everything. Sometimes, videos on the internet that the big time company claims not reliable are sometimes giving you the most accurate news. You can feel there is so much more to be expressed from the opinions of the people who are in the area of concern. Unlike the other medias, they are trying to hide some secrets that someone, something, or some place wants them to keep. This YouTube video, titled Cocaine Coast, Colombia, it's a very good video. You can really feel the agony of the people in Colombia. Lower class. From an interview with a lady in the video, she dares to criticize the army for joining in with the cocaine smuggling, and maybe even hinting that the government gets their part of the share by smuggling cocaine into the US. Even the smallest channels can give you the most honest answers, since they are presenting their video from 2 points of view, so that we can decide what to be biased on. Other than that, when the media shows us any photos of drug trafficking in Colombia, they only show us the photo of the people getting caught, the police, or sometimes even the soldiers. They do not expect us to make up anything from the photo. They do not care to emphasize on the expressions the people are giving in the photo. From this photo, the photo looks normal at the first sight. It's just some people being caught because they are suspected to be involved in drug dealing. However, when we analyze the photo much more carefully, we can find out that there is so much more. Focus your attention on the suspects' expressions. Do they look happy to you? Most of them have faces of acceptance. None of them really shown any faces of regret. It would seem that they are already ready to sacrifice their lives for money. But what do they need the money for? They need money to raise their family, to survive. Since poverty in Colombia is so great, as mentioned just now, some of their faces might even look more determined than the soldiers. However, does the media explain this much about a photo? Or do they just let us know what we want to know, or rather than what we need to know? Despite all of that, there are a few examples that the media should follow and do. Like what I said, most media tend to ignore how the people feel and their backgrounds. An example the media should follow from is this article. This article clearly shows pity and sympathy towards the young deceased drug dealer who was treated unfairly by police officials. Other medias will not even consider reporting the person's backstory, and then discusses on those other useless stuff that we do not need to know. Other articles would just talk about how he died and how serious was his death, and needlessly reporting about what kind of cocaine he swallowed. The media does not respect one's death. If you ask me, that boy mentioned in the article was very brave. He had no choice but to sell drugs to survive. He even wanted to turn a new leaf. So, the media does not really show any respect towards one's death. Even if they are criminals, they have lived a life like we did, and we should do well to cherish that. Government websites are the same. They lack of info about the drug dealers themselves. They will only report about the crime that has been committed. This government website supports my argument. Chance at all. Hearing what the officials have to say is good, but we also want to hear what the convicts have to say. That's why government news websites are probably biased to their own opinion on the crime, or they are hiding some important facts. All of my evidence above concludes my sub-argument. We can see clearly that the media is not revealing everything we need to know about drug trafficking in Colombia.
Okay, Jensen, you're right about your argument. Policies that focus on suppressing drug flows are often inactive in suppressing organized crime. Under the worst circumstances, such as Colombia or South Africa, controlling policies such as high-value targeting or eradication of illicit crops can trigger instant criminal violence or strengthen insurgencies. On its own, it is unlikely to address a host of problems associated with organized crime, which eventually created a social class and influenced several aspects of Colombia culture. Coca and other drugs have been part of the lifestyle of some Colombians. But the worldwide demand of physicoactive drugs during the 1960s and 1970s eventually increased the production and processing of this in Colombia. Cocaine is produced at 1,500 kg in jungle labs and could be sold on the streets of America for as much as 50,000 kg. This makes them more profit by economically, but it affects the country and the government. The media was designed by journeyman pictures. It shows only the social culture of the village of Buenaventura, Colombia. This coastal village of Colombia was primarily occupied by the paramilitary, also known as guerrillas in Colombia, which ruled thoroughly. Due to the 80% who suffer from poverty, the paramilitary uses this as an opportunity to acquire drug trafficker. The video uncovers deeper understanding of the growth and expansion from the drug trafficking as socialists such as paramilitary. The guerrillas and also the military itself gains profit from it. Mistakes made are inevitable, as the trafficker will be punished and murdered before their corpses will be displayed in the streets as a reminder to all the villagers and also the military. Such acts do not portray willingness for drug traffickers to join the drug smuggling industry, but as a sign of force and oppression. According to Colombian reports, the illegal armed groups make profit approximately 14 million a year in drug trafficking and illegal mining activities. The country top financial intelligence official and the director of the Financial Crime Unit (FIA), Money Luis Suarez, say the country drug trafficking groups launder some 10 billion annually, a figure corresponding to about 3% of the country's gross domestic product. The picture shows that expensive drug costs more people to commit crimes in order to fund their habits. For example, cigarette smokers likely don't have to commit offences just to fund their lifestyle. However, due to instant markups of unsafe, unregulated and therefore highly educated products, the users of illegal drugs often do. A comparison of illegal drug users with medical users of the same drug shows dramatic decreases in the level of crime being committed to fund drug addictions. Problems faced by Colombia due to drug production and its trade focus on employment, money laundering and land ownership and income inequality. The economic distortion caused by the illegal drug trade stunt along the growth and development. As profit grows in the unregulated black market for illegal drugs, it attracts more labor and capital investment, drawing it away from legitimate, regulated and taxable sectors of the economy. On the other side, the business that make up the legitimate economic activity in the same country have to shoulder more of the tax and regulatory burden. The illegal drug trade has a secondary impact on employment through money laundering and its effect the goods purchased about using dirty money, smuggle the goods into Colombia and then sell them, often at a loss. The sale of these items launder the money for the trafficker but undercuts legitimate business because the drug trafficker are likely to sell for less, even they have already gained a profit before the sale. The war on the drugs criminalizes poverty and makes criminals of the poor. It shows the farmer in regions with undeveloped infrastructure and bargaining system that enslave the poor to debtors can often only make ends meet by choosing to grow an illegal crop in higher demand than a legal one. Another World Drug Report says opium bans and crop radiation programs have been linked with increasing poverty among farmers because it reduces access to health and education, increased acknowledgement, large-scale displacement, accelerated deforestation and social discontent. It's not a surprise that the war on drugs waged by governments often drive a large group of people right into the arms of criminal gangs and insurgent groups. The violence due to drug trade and production by both criminal and government to control the legal drug trade is devastating. Cartels in major trafficking countries actively employ private armies that often have more powerful resources than law enforcement. The terrorist group take advantage of the recent profit of the illegal drug trade to raise money to fund acts of mass violence. In the unregulated cartels use violence as a major tactic to disrupt competitor and increase market share. The drug trade is also creating problems in the relation between Colombia with Venezuela and Colombia with Ecuador. The main argument of this was Venezuela opposed the Colombian plan to increase American troops level in that region. In the late 2003, Venezuelan military aircraft bombed and struck some outposts. The target was not the leftist rebels who regard Mr. Chavez as something of a hero, but the Colombian paramilitary group that had pursued the guerrillas across the border. In effect, the Venezuelan landowners, merchants who live along the border accused the Venezuelan military of ignoring or colluding with rebels. It is unclear whether that is government policy, but the United Nations official, Venezuelan farmer and aid groups report that Venezuelan military units have tolerated the rebels for years. What was the point of Plan Colombia? Is the US government still concerned with fighting drugs? Why have 20 years of drug war in the endless result in the two-fold increase in cocaine imported into the US in the last 10 years alone? Could there be alternate purpose to a plan focused on beefing up the brutal Colombia military and spraying coca fear in people health parts of the country when coca is grown all over Colombia? And what about oil? Given that Colombia has the same oil potential as Venezuela, currently the second largest oil supplier to the US, the award-winning Free Will Production theme sheds light on the complex issues of drug trafficking and civil struggle in Colombia and the impact of both the current chemical spray program and the multi-billion-dollar aid package delivered to the military. Analyzes the interview with Noam Chomsky, the late Senator Paul Wellstone, Colombian presidential candidate, Betancourt, later taken hostage by the FARC, US member of the Congress John Conyers and Jim McGowan, US State Department official, a World Wildlife Fund scientist, as well as Colombians from all walks of life, including guerrillas leaders. The movie Maria Full of Grace was one of the most popular in drug trafficking. The storyline was about bride, stripper, 17-year-old Maria Alvarez lives with 3 generations for her family in a drug house in a rural Colombia and works stripping prawns from flower in a rose plantation. The offer of the lucrative job involving trade, in fact, becoming a drug mule, changes the courses of her life. Far from the unfulfilling dream she is promised, Maria is transported into the risky and ruthless world of international drug trafficking. Her mission becomes one of the determination and survival, and she finally merged with the grace that will carry her forward into a new life. The two pictures shows how the transportation of illegal goods and the money which were paid for the illegal dealing with other countries. Drug policies currently in Colombia were increasingly repressive, largely inactive, and heavily influenced by the international legal framework that was put in place. In effect, in just a few years, Colombia went from having a scattered set of regulations with an emphasis on prevention and medical administrative treatment to having legislation evident in definition of criminal conduct and sanction that include the full drug cycle from production through marketing and trafficking to consumption.
In conclusion, the media plays one part in misperceiving Colombia as a mass cocaine smuggling country.
Society easily believes the false allegations made by the media.
The media of the today, the media of the profit and oligarchy, not the media of justice and freedom.
Therefore, it only serves as commercial purpose for the upper class citizens, bringing them nothing but entertainment.
Hence, society needs to be rational in differentiating between what is true and what is false.
Together, we can change, and it starts by you.